The tropics remain very active. Hurricane Kirk and Hurricane Leslie in the central Atlantic and one more area off the west coast of Africa, but these do not pose a threat to the U.S. Hurricane Milton continues to rapidly strengthen in the Gulf of Mexico and is expected to bring significant impacts to the Florida peninsula this week. 85-mile-per-hour winds as of the 4 p.m. advisory Sunday from the National Hurricane Center. Pressure is down to 983 millibars. The pressure will continue to drop, and this will continue to strengthen over the next few days, likely becoming a major hurricane at some point tomorrow. Then by Tuesday, a Category 4 hurricane, likely making landfall as a major hurricane, again along portions of central and south Florida, bringing significant impacts to those areas. Current model guidance in close agreement with this. Areas along Tampa and Sarasota is where we're seeing the majority of the model consensus, but as the system continues to get better organized and we get more information from the hurricane hunters on the movement of this system, we'll get a better idea of that overall consensus, and that track will get more defined throughout this week. The chance of tropical storm force winds spreads far outside the cone, as far south as areas along the Florida Keys and as far north as parts of Florida's Big Bend. But that highest chance for tropical storm force winds is in areas closer to the center of this system, along areas like Spring Hill, Tampa, down through Sarasota, Fort Myers, along the west coast of Florida, down to central and south Florida. So we're expecting some of those strongest winds, but even some of those strong winds felt on the other side of the Florida peninsula, close to Melbourne and areas on the east side of Florida. Rainfall potential continues to increase 5 to 8 inches in some spots, isolated higher amounts as high as 12 plus inches in some areas, as some of those training showers and thunderstorms sit over some of those areas. So inland flash flooding is going to be a big concern, and also watching for that storm surge. We're going to see changes with that storm surge potential as we see shifts with the track. So yesterday, it was showing a landfall just north of Tampa, so some of that worst surge felt in Tampa Bay. But with that shift south, we've seen the majority of the worst surge further south in areas like Sarasota, Venice, down through Port Charlotte, and even parts of Fort Myers, seeing 3 to 6 feet of surge. We will see changes with this as we see shifts in the overall track. So here's what you should know about Hurricane Milton. It's rapidly strengthening in the Gulf, likely becoming a major hurricane before making landfall on the Florida peninsula. This means more problems for the Florida peninsula after they just saw issues with Helene about a week and a half ago. Thanks to a cold front, the News 5 area, including the central Gulf Coast. Again, a cold front will dive south, blocking this from the area, so we will not see direct impacts, but some minor impacts in the form of rough surf. We'll have a high risk for rip currents and some gusty winds, especially closer to the coastline as possible throughout this week. For more details on Hurricane Milton and also everything in the tropics, you can go to WKRG.com, check out our hurricane map room and our Tracking the Tropics page.